Hello there, how are you doing? Before the start of the video, as usual, I have to let you know what kind of deals Gentleman Pursuits has scored for you, and this time it is guess. And the deals are, if you use GC Fall 10, the code GC Fall 10, yes, GC Fall 10, you get 10% off orders from $150 plus. And if you use GC Fall 20, you get 20% off orders from $250 above. So Guess is a really nice brand. They have really stylish clothing. To be honest, who doesn't know the brand Guess? So if you've been thinking of shopping at Guess, now's the best time. Use the promo code GC Fall 10, sorry, or GC Fall 20 to get your discount. Now, roll the clip. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Gentleman's Discourse. My name is Ryan. Today's Josh is not with me because he's a little busy. I think it's like a misscheduling on my end as well. So this is going to be a solo podcast episode because I do not want to miss a week. I want to stay consistent. I want to put out an episode every single week. So today's just me, and how is everyone doing? I am doing fine. Matter of fact, I've not felt this good in a long time, to be honest. I feel like right now I have everything I need, everything I want, and I'm on a steady course of getting what I want or pursuing my dream, I guess. So a little bit about my life. I mean, today's a solo podcast, so why not, just have an update of my life. One thing I love the most is to be transparent. So I love to share with you what is going on with my life. So recently, I had an interview. First of all, I had an interview with Arno from MBNF. He is the communication manager from MBNF. Really lovely gentleman. Really nice talk with him. Just all around friendly and genuine. And his philosophy on horology, watch company, and his own watch collecting philosophy, right, is really interesting. Really just overall really had a really fun conversation with him, and that's that. And today, as I'm making this podcast episode, I am going to have another interview with Josh, Mr. Josh Taylor. We are going to talk about whiskey, and I hope that's I think this is gonna be an interesting thing as well. But the main thing I want to talk about today is So recently, I have taken on this project of mine, a really side project, which I decided to start writing a book, try writing a book, and started writing a book. First of all, never thought writing a book could be that hard. At first, before going into it, I was like, it's just a really long essay, right? It's just an essay. I've written an essay all my life. It can't be that hard, until the first time, got the introduction down, got the prologue down, and then started writing my first chapter. I was in front of my computer for like 2 hours long, and I've only written a page and a half. I don't know if it's like a normal rate, a slow, a fast, I don't know, but it felt really slow for myself, and I have to keep going back and forth to change things, to rearrange paragraphs, adding points here and there. And luckily, I have a friend who is studying creative writing, and he has been writing, I think he had written like a book already. He himself has completed a book already, so I asked him for some tips and tricks. But mainly, so this book of mine, first of all, the name is called, okay, you know what, I don't want to call it a book prematurely. If in the end it is not, maybe it's just a really long blog post, I don't know. But the name of it is called A Not So Grown Mind Going Through Grown Up Shit. maybe a really ugly sounding title, but maybe you've already, guessed the idea behind this book. Is basically me trying to address and illustrate how, as a teenager or as a young adult, we have to go through a lot of things that adults may have. We have to go through a lot of things that not a lot of people understand, and that in turns sometimes resulted in adults invalidating our feelings towards it. Because sometimes I feel like everyone that has gone through teenage years and young adults year, and I mean like maybe 18 to 24, I'd say, you're expected to do adult stuff, but sometimes our feelings are not validated because we're young. We so-called, quote unquote, do not know what we're talking about. This book was actually inspired by a comic book I read a few months ago. It's called Black Hole by Charles Burns, and this is a really weird looking comic book. It's not your conventional superhero comic book, and it's black and white. It basically talks about how in this town there's this disease, like an STD kind of disease, where once you contract it, there's going to be physical deformities showing on your body. And from that, using that as an anchor in the storyline, it talks about how a lot of teenagers have contracted it, but they can't tell anyone, even their friends, because they're going to be shunned or made fun of if they tell their friends. So some of these teenagers, after contracting that disease, have to leave home, leave school, drop out to live as an outcast of society. And then the story basically talk about how these people deal with such a big problem, such a life-changing problem when you're still a teenager, a 16, 17-year-old. And this is really interesting as well because not only does it talk about how they have to go through it and deal with that disease on their own, it talks about like drugs, sex, and I think it's like in the 70s or 80s United States. So really raw, I'd say, experience reading that, because in some way I really resonate with it. How, as I said, we have to go through big problems in life, but we don't have anyone to talk to because we have this like constant fear that our experience is not validated by our, like, because of our age, because we're young, we don't know what we're talking about. It couldn't be that serious because we're young. And I am sure that, as I said, I'm sure that everyone that is now an adult has gone through a phase where another adult told you that, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, it's not that bad. Have you ever lived my life? If you've lived my life, your life, you wouldn't think your life's that hard. Maybe that's true. Maybe if I've lived some of your lives, it's not my life right now. Wouldn't be like, I wouldn't be complaining, but that doesn't mean you can use that all the time, use that excuse all the time and tell us that our experience and feelings doesn't make sense, right? So this book, A Not So Grown Mind Going Through Grown Up Shit, basically talks about that issue, talks about why teenagers, we act a certain way, what made us act a certain way. A lot of these reasons are really stupid and dumb, to be honest. In hindsight, looking back, writing it, a lot of these reasons are stupid and dumb, but because at that moment in our mind, these are the most important thing. That, that reasoning or that excuse, that logic at that moment was what's valid. That's why we act the way we did. And can you really blame us though? Can you really blame teenagers for acting that way? No, you can't, because we're still learning, we're still trying out different things in life. We are experimenting with what the society, what the world has installed for us. So in a sense, that it is really frustrating for us to, first of all, not know what to do, and second of all, do not know who to go to, and third of all, finding who we actually are is like a growing process. Okay, some of you right now will be like, hey, everyone went through that, why you don't like, why are you bitching about it, why are you complaining about it? It's not a complaint. It's not a book to complain about that. It's not a book to complain about why you make life so hard for teenagers. That's not the motive, or that's not the goal that I'm looking for. I'm basically trying to write from a teenager's perspective to tell you that why we act a certain way. So maybe next time we do some shit that is dumb, and you be like, why are you doing that? Now you understand. Even if it's wrong, you can yell at us, you can tell us it's wrong, but now you understand more why this thing happens. So I don't know, that maybe this podcast is like a self-promotion where I talk about my side project, but yes, this teenagers, young adult topic has been popping into my head quite often recently as I start to detach from my younger self. I'd say detach as in like, because I'm like growing into, I'm like 20 years old. I'm like 21 in 4 months. So turning from like, let's say 18-year-old me that's fresh out of high school, fresh into a college freshman, to now a 3rd year student. In the past 2 years, I've seen myself, I've witnessed a lot of changes in my life, and I've seen myself grown into this another Ryan. It's like a different persona where I'm more aware, where I'm more grounded to a certain extent. I'm not saying I'm really mature right now, but I'd say compared to the younger self, I'm way more mature. But that also means that because I'm more aware of what's going on around me, it in some way created more burden on myself. And it's just me going through stuff like that. So most of the time I have to teach myself how to have the proper mindset, how to have a good, a proper mindset, as well as a way to seek balance, a way to calm yourself down amidst storms that I have to go through, and I will go through in the future. So yes, that's why I really want to write this book and, have that creative outlet. But thank you guys for staying for this little tiny segment of Gentleman's Discourse. Next week it will be back to normal if you have been following Gentleman's Discourse. But if so yeah, thank you for staying once again. Hope you have a great day. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, stay happy. Come on, drink that water and wear a mask. Thank you guys. It's Ryan, and I'll see you in the next episode.